The next step is to route the rail profiles. Now, as with the first step, the router settings have to be identical in order to ensure that the profiles will match when joined. Now, I'd like to take this opportunity to demonstrate the new Dowelmax router lift. I've been using this system for about 10 years, and we only recently, in the last 2 years or so, we decided to go ahead with a good design and manufacture. After we did manufacture the first set and we were trying them out, we decided to do a face-off our system against the crank type system, the typical crank type system. And so we decided to do a face-off, a video face-off, and I was elected, unfortunately, to do the crank type system. Now, during the video process, I was absolutely amazed at how convoluted and arduous the crank type system is, and that is not a sales pitch, it's the absolute truth. Whereas our system, as you will see, is simple and fluid. Now, for the benefit of younger people or new entrants to the woodworking profession, a couple of things. When you're using a router, always work against the router rotation. Always work against it. If you work with it, the wood workpiece can be drawn into the bit, and as with that, so can your hands. The other thing is, when you're changing router bits or altering anything, always disconnect the power. Okay, I'll now demonstrate this our new system. Raise the lift. Now, this is a carbide tipped OG router bit I'm going to install. Now, the other advantage of this system is you've got a clear view of the height of the router bit. And now, because we've disconnected the power, we're going to connect it up again. Now, another wee thing, when you're routing a rail like this, try and move the rail completely through without hesitation or stopping, because you can get burning on the surface if you hesitate. Well, that's it. It's very simple. I'd also like to point out that it's advantageous when you're doing a cut like this to use a push stick for the final piece so that your fingers are well clear of the router bit. And that's it. We've now finished the routing and sanding procedures for these 8 outer rails, and what my intention is to add the smaller rail, which is profiled, to the face of this larger rail. In cross section, what this will provide is a profile like this. Now, you'll notice here that the glue surface here is considerable, so there's not a strength problem. However, what I've found in the past is when you're joining these and clamping them, the ability to maintain the accuracy of these two edges here is very difficult, almost impossible. So what I've decided to do is add in 1/4" dowels here. This will add strength to the joint, but it's mainly for alignment rather than strength. Now, what I've done here is I've used 8 1/4" dowels along the length of the small rail, and keep well away from the outer edge here. This is relatively easy to do. Keep away from the outer edge, because that's where the mitre is going to be cut, and it will create problems when you'll foul the dowels that are already installed. Now, to do that, the distance gauge is set at approximately 7 inches. Now, for both these rails, you can implement this procedure using the jig or device in its normal configuration. However, what I've discovered by experience is that it's better to use the device in its normal configuration for this rail, but for clamping purposes, it's better to use the device in its second configuration for this rail. So all you do there is remove this assembly here and attach it to the bottom of the reference bracket. Okay, let's get started. Now, before beginning the drilling process, these rails have been marked. There's 2 check marks on the rear surface here, 2 check marks on the end here, and an X on the surface to be drilled. Now we take Dowelmax in its second configuration, check mark to check mark. This is surface to be drilled. Align it to the end. And now in this case we're going to drill 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now insert the distance gauge in the last hole to be drilled. It's just purely for procedure purposes. I'll usually always follow the same procedure. Tighten your clamp screws. Now this is all within thousandths of an inch. It's been maintained by this distance gauge. Now again we're going to drill 4 and 5. Turn this around, makes it easier to do. Again in the last hole. Make sure the distance gauge is level and true. And again, drill 4 and 5. The last hole again. Now, with respect to the last one, we're drilling 3 and 4. This is to avoid the end which I previously explained about. That's it, finished. This takes a couple of minutes, not very long. You want to pick out fairly tight dowels to maintain your alignment. It's amazing the strength that these 1/4 inch has. It would be surprising. Now we have to go to our check marks again. Check marks here. There's your final profile, and this edge is absolutely flush and square.